All right, guys. So every single week, I do this exact same video where I post a story on my Instagram, and it basically says, "Ask me anything." And what I do is I let you guys literally ask me anything related to WWE, family, life, goals, business, content, whatever you want to ask. I'm an open book. Now, obviously, some questions, if they were too personal, I probably wouldn't answer. But what we're going to do today is go through your questions. And right now, I have a good amount of them to go through. And so we're going to try to jump straight into this video. I think honestly, there's probably at least 50 questions here. So I'm going to try to get through a lot of these as fast as I can. I'd like for this to be under a 30-minute video, but we'll see. So let's jump straight into it. What are your thoughts on the Wyatt Six and Bo Dallas? So I kind of missed this whole storyline with the original Wyatt and all that stuff, and Bo Dallas. Like I don't really know who Bo Dallas even is. If I'm honest with you, I wasn't watching wrestling when these guys were at the top of their game. I saw the Wyatt Six for the first time last year when they came back and had everyone backstage bleeding, and it was like a murder scene. That was my first time really seeing the Wyatt Six and kind of understanding who they even are in the first place. And so um, I don't think much about them, if I'm honest with you. I'm not really tied to that story, and so for that reason, I guess I have to go back and watch more of it. No one justly trusts in God's when God's won't be trusted. Virgil, what does that mean to you? Um, it doesn't really mean anything to me. I, nothing, honestly. Your favorite wrestler? My favorite wrestler of all time is Jeff Hardy. It's always been Jeff Hardy, and honestly, it probably always will be Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is the reason why I started watching wrestling. He's the reason why I did flips on my trampoline. He's the reason why I created my WWE superstars the way I created my WWE superstars growing up and even now. Like, so I would say I'd have to go with Jeff Hardy. Would you be interested in starting a WWE podcast with a co-host? Not anytime soon. I have no interest in doing anything like that anytime soon because I like the freedom of doing things alone. I like the freedom of having full creativity. I like the ability to create when I want to create versus a rigid schedule where it depends on someone else. I have a really big family. I have a wife. I have 6 kids, and then you tie that into someone else's life and trying to figure out schedules, and it just creates a headache for me. I've done other podcasts in the past, and they all just end up failing because mostly because of my schedule. If family was keeping me away from my goals, should I leave them and start fresh from dirt? Um, I wish you would have identified family a little bit more. If you're talking about your like wife, no. If you're talking about like your mom and dad, and you're a grown man, I think you need to leave them and start fresh from dirt. I hate like you don't have to say it like that, but I do think there's comes a point in someone's life where you have to start living for what you want to get accomplished, and you can't, you know, live in your parents' basement for the rest of your life. You can't rely on your family to make you accomplish the goals and dreams that you want to get accomplished. And so, if that's what you're talking about, then possibly I just need way more context and a lot more details. How do I start on indies? Honestly, I think the best way to start is to find a gym near you that trains wrestlers or professional wrestling and join it. And then I think from then you'll kind of find out, the behind the scenes stuff, and you'll start learning about these events and learning about this and learning about that. I think also posting stuff on social media and, posting your workouts, post the journey of you becoming a wrestler on YouTube, on social media, where people can see it and get attached to your story. Who do you think will dethrone John Cena, and who will change John's mind and turn him babyface? So I'm gonna put this right here, my one here, so I can stop holding it. So have a I go with a few different people for this one. I think that this can go a few different ways. I think that I hope you guys can still hear me. I'm gonna see this to kind of make it a little bit more. There we go. Ooh, so much better. Um, I would say, who do I think is going to dethrone John Cena? I don't really know. The Ron Killings thing really kind of shook things up a lot because it could be him. Honestly, it really just kind of depends on how this next 6 months go. At the same time, it could be Roman. At the same time, it could be Cody. It could be Logan. Hell, it could even be The Rock himself. Um, and so I really don't know. And at this point, I don't know what the goal is with John Cena's story, and if he's really going to take the title home. Like, there's so much that's unanswered, and his story is such a it's so all over the place where you can't really give an answer to that. If I'm honest with you, when you start watching WWE, and who was the first wrestler you rooted for? I started watching WWE, I'd say in the late '90s, like '97, '98, back when um, Jeff and Matt Hardy, like before Jeff started coloring his hair and doing all the crazy stuff, when he just had the blonde hair. Um, that's when I started. And Jeff Hardy was the first wrestler I ever rooted for. Just my aunt bought, talk about this in the last one I did like this, but my aunt bought the Leap of Faith DVD that they did years and years ago. And I watched that all the time. The best wrestling game of all time. Um, Man, there's just so many. I spent so much time back then playing like Nintendo 64 and playing like the WrestleMania, the No Mercies, all of those games. And then when that switched to, I remember they switched and did SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, and they did Raw on Xbox and SmackDown on PlayStation. Those were also great. And then when they did SmackDown versus Raw, those were great. And then they did 2005, 2006, 2007, they did ECW, they did all these different. I mean, they're all so good. I think at post SmackDown versus Raw until really like 2022, 2K 2022. I think all those in the middle were terrible. But I think they're starting to kind of get things back together now. I would hope to say 2020 or 2K26. I'm hoping is a lot better, but who knows? They're really kind of going into this microtransaction thing, and I'm not really here for that. What do you think of Ron Killings coming back? I think it was great. I think it was the people exactly what the people wanted. I don't know what happens from here though. I think the follow up is so important because one, he just pretty much changed his whole character. He's no longer this entertaining guy, and since he's not that guy, I don't want to see that anymore. Like I don't want to see Ron Killings be funny. But what I've noticed, and from interviews I've watched over the last few days, is he's full kayfabe at the moment. Like there is glimmers of our truth, and there's times where he straight up Venom switches into Ron Killings, and I think that that's who we're gonna get right now. I think that's what we're gonna see, and I'm honestly really excited for it. I think it was a good move. I hope that he continues what he's doing, and it all works out. Do you hope to have collaborations in future? Kindly tell us something interesting about you. Do you hope to have collaborations in future WWE? I'm assuming that you mean like collaborations with people in the WWE. I'm not really sure. I don't know, but if so, yes, absolutely, that'd be so cool. I'd love to go to events and travel and have people here on my Instagram. I don't ever really want to turn it into a podcast, but at the same time, yeah, I'd love to do conversations. I'd love to, you know, befriend some of those people, and go to events and take pictures and bring family to events and kind of just make it a an all encompassing thing. I think that'd be really cool. Um, I do work right now, so it's a little bit harder, but here's what it is. Kind of tell us something about you. Um, about me. Um, I live in Dallas, Texas. I played basketball growing up. I work full time. I have a wife. I have kids. I have family. I'm a Christian. Obviously, you can tell by my bio. Um, and at the moment, I well not at the moment, but recently I kind of dove into this wrestling thing. I could say again last year. Like I was always into it as a kid, but then um, somewhere last year I saw when I think it was WrestleMania 40 and all that stuff going down with The Rock and Roman, and I was like, wow, this actually looks pretty interesting. And so I just randomly started watching it, and that was a year ago. And then I started seeing people create content behind it, and I was like, I love content. I love creating content. Before I did this, I've done coaching and content. I've done a lot of stuff in this content world, and so I figured why not just start creating content around wrestling and just have it for fun and see what happens with it. And so that's kind of how I got here. And then 30 days later, I'm here doing podcasts like this or videos like this. Is this your full time job? No, this is not my full time job. I am excited for one day it will be, um, and I am trying to figure out how to do that now. I think um, here on YouTube, I think obviously you can get monetized on YouTube. I plan on starting a Patreon pretty soon, maybe getting into Twitch, different things to kind of keep to start generating income from it. Um, Maybe start creating some merch, stuff like that. But at the moment, it's not. But I would love for it to be. Best anti-hero, like not bad or a good guy. I would say, huh? I'd say the best right now is Roman Reigns, um, or Rhea Ripley. Say one of those two. Best face of all time. Um, Best face of all time. Oh, also the Undertaker would go in that. The Undertaker and Sting would also go in that anti-hero with Roman and all those guys. The best face of all time, I would have to say The Rock. Um, I don't want to say he's the best though. He's my favorite face of all time. But I wouldn't say he's the best. The the best would technically have to be John Cena because he stayed face the entire time, like his whole career, all 17 championships, all however many years up until this year was all face. And so I guess I would have to go with John Cena. Best heel all time. The best heel of all time is Ric Flair. Is he my favorite? No, but it is Ric Flair, and so it kind of is what it is. Worst wrestler of all time. There's so many. Um, there's so many. I mean, if I had to say the worst wrestler of all time, it would have to be someone I can't name because that's why they're the worst. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna skip that one because the worst wrestler of all time would be someone who got cut, right? My least favorite of all time would probably have to be like Hurricane or one of those guys from back then. Uh, NXT or TNA, NXT easily. NXT or main roster. Right now, NXT is destroying the main roster, um, and is not even close. Is AEW better now or better than WWE now? Absolutely not. AEW stories are trash, and it's all just a bunch of stuntmen moving fast. Like they don't tell. There's no psychology in the wrestling. There's no story in the wrestling. It's just let's see how much we can get clips on social media. Best Booker oat milk. I don't know. I don't know. Vince or Triple H. I would have to go with ooh Vince or Triple H. Hmm. I would have to go with Vince. I have to go with Vince because Vince he put the business first. This was like it was his business. So when it's your business, you treat it as such. Where Triple H, this isn't technically his business. He's just in control of creative, um, and so he doesn't necessarily get affected as much by the money and like how well WWE does. He's not directly affected by any of it, where Vince McMahon was, and so he just had more skin in the game. And you always want to go with the person who has more skin in the game. And so I'd have to go with Vince simply for that reason, but also because Vince is the creator of all our favorite characters. Right? If you go all the way back to Hulk Hogan, you go back to Steve Austin, you go back to Triple H, you go back to himself, Vince, you go back to John Cena, you go back to Roman Reigns. All these people are people that Vince McMahon said they need to be in the spotlight. Um, and so for that reason, I got to go with Vince. Triple H doesn't seem to put a person in the spotlight, and when he does, it's like it's not as good as when Vince did it. So is WWE starting to become bad again, like 2019 Vince era? I didn't watch 2019 Vince era, but I think so. I guess when you say bad, um, I'm assuming you mean like heel characters. But if you mean bad, like viewership, then I don't know. I don't. Again, I didn't watch in 2019, but I know for sure as far as like heel characters, I think so. I think it's becoming like a darker era right now where we're having a bunch of guys that are heels become the champions, and they're starting to kind of rule the show, and like these anti-hero style characters as well. This is creatine, by the way. Worst PLE of all time. Mm, probably probably WrestleMania 41. Best athlete in wrestling of all time, like maybe Shelton Benjamin. I don't know. Shelton Benjamin was great. Bobby Lashley was great. Um, best athlete, I would say Logan Paul is a really good one. Logan Paul is honestly, I mean, that dude is crazy. Um, hmm. I mean, there's so many. Um, right now, because I can't think of anybody, and I don't want to spend 10 minutes on this question, I'm just going to go Logan Paul because he's doing stuff that we've never seen other people do in the WWE. Um, best in ring technician of all time. I am going to have to go with technician. I got to go with either Bret Hart or Kurt Angle. Um, it's got to be one of those two because they have to have the championships to back it up, right? So I was going to say Chris Benoit, but Chris Benoit doesn't have the longevity that Kurt and Bret had. Um, it's got to be one of those two. Favorite wrestler of all time, Jeff Hardy. Favorite PLE of all time, I'd say um, probably the WrestleMania where it was Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels and Mike Tyson was there. I don't know. I think it was WrestleMania 13 or 14 or something like that. 12. What's your biggest goal right now? My biggest goal is to go full time with this and stop working. How much does traveling to a PLE with the location package or WWE VIP package cost? I don't know, but if you go to tickpick.com or ticketmaster.com and search it, you will find out. You think Goldberg is coming back to fight Gunther? Absolutely not. Um, I mean, I guess it could be cool. I just don't know why that would happen, and it would kind of be like a moment thing. It would be just for now, and he would disappear. But honestly, that'd be really cool for our eyes. You got this one guy who's like super in shape, super dominant, and you got this other guy who's not in shape, but he also is super dominant. He's a ring general. I think that would be a really good rivalry if there was going to be one for Goldberg right now. They're both kind of the same, but totally opposite. New to the page, who is your favorite superstar of any period and network and why? Well, welcome to the page. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all of this. Um, I appreciate you for following. My favorite superstar, WWE superstar, would have to be Jeff Hardy. My top five is Jeff Hardy, Sting, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, and Shawn Michaels. And why? Because those are just the people that brought me into the WWE. I think I also add Roman Reigns in there because of what he's done for the WWE, and I think that he has kind of the coolest story out of everybody. Like Undertaker's story is cool. Don't get me wrong, but Roman Reigns, you kind of connect with him as a character, and he's kind of feels like the main character of the WWE. Um, and honestly, he's brought his whole family on board. He keeps them around. I think it's really cool how he just made the WWE his life, and I just enjoy that about him as well. Who will dethrone Gunther? I'm hoping Logan Paul, but Logan Paul is a heel, so they probably won't do that. but I really would like to see Logan Paul with the with the world heavyweight title. Um, we can also see Seth Rollins maybe taking it with the Money in the Bank, but I don't think we'll ever see Gunther gets to a point where his guard is down enough for Seth to take it. And that's kind of where I'm like, I don't really know. Um, but I would say one of those two as of right now. Do you tune into other companies? I'm new here. Welcome again. Um, I don't tune into other companies outside of WWE. I tune into the other brands of WWE, so NXT, Evolve, all that stuff. But I don't watch like AEW or any of those. Do you think Becky is the GOAT? Absolutely not. Not even close. Thoughts on Jacob turning on Solo? I think it's great for the story. Um, I think that it makes sense. I think that they did a great job telling the story over time as well. It's been like a year of this kind of going on, and I don't think they rushed it at all. I'm excited to see what they do with it, and I'm excited to see how Roman reacts to all this stuff when he gets back. Favorite old, comma new school wrestlers. Um, my favorite old wrestlers, I would say Sting, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Favorite, and Jeff Hardy, those guys. Favorite new, I would say Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Logan Paul for three. What is your full goal in life? That's such um, a big question. I would say to imitate Christ as much as possible, um, to raise children of God, to have a marriage throughout my life, the same marriage, the marriage I'm in right now. Um, and honestly, that'd be cool enough. The rest of it, I think, the money and all that stuff, I mean, it's cool, but like, if those three things fail, then the rest of it doesn't even matter. I'd like to hear a personal ranking on who you believe are the best in the ring performers right now. Best in ring performers right now. So it's really hard because there's people who I kind of have a video about this on my Instagram, and there's people who think that being a technician makes you the best, and then there's people who are performers that, in my opinion, actually are the best. I think that if you can't tell a story in the ring, this stuff doesn't matter. Everyone in WWE have the basics down. That's why they're in the WWE. That's why they're in professional wrestling. They all know how to be professionals. However, the technician level is just like who can be the best at the fundamentals, but to be a performer, it's adding in your styles, it's adding in your personality, it's adding in the story behind it. And so for me, I think the best in-ring performer would have to be either, and you guys are there's three. There's three for me at least. Um, I could almost go with four, but I'm gonna go three. I gotta go to Roman Reigns because every time this dude touches the ring, he tells a story. Every single time. I gotta go with Cody Rhodes for the exact same reason. And then y'all gonna hate me for this one, but Logan Paul has got to be number three. Y'all don't like that one, but it is what it is. I gotta go Logan Paul for number three simply because he tells a story. The dude is literally doing moonsaults off the ropes onto tables. Um, he's great at selling, and he's great at being an athlete, and he has the basics down. So those are my top three. Who do you think should win King and Queen of the Ring? It really depends on who the 16th person is. If the 16th person is Ron Killings, then I got to go with Ron because it doesn't make sense to add him into this and then take him out, especially when he just announced this. Um, for the Queen of the Ring, I would love to see either Jade or Charlotte win it. Who do you think actually dethroned Cena? Do you think it could be Jacob or someone else? Definitely not Jacob. Um, Again, it could be The Rock, it could be Roman, it could be Logan Paul. Um, I don't think they'll turn Logan back face, but it definitely could. Um, but I think one of those three, maybe even Cody. Am I the only one who thinks that Jay should turn heel? No, but I don't think right now is the time. I think that they should wait a little bit longer. However, I think that might be happening right now. Is watching wrestling something a Christian man would should do? And I'm genuinely curious. Um, so this is a meaty question, and it kind of goes into a few different things. Like there's Christian liberties and blah 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 blah. So it really just depends. I think like there's levels of which where it's at right now. I think is okay, but obviously there's definitely some things that are kind of like whoa, you probably shouldn't be watching that. Um, and so I think it really just depends. But I would go based on what you're convicted on. If you feel like you shouldn't be watching it, don't watch it. That's definitely a sign that you shouldn't be watching it. Um, and so, in my opinion, I would just say just go based on what convicts you. What do you think about John Cena's reign as champion? I don't like it. I'm not. I've never been a big John Cena fan. I've never been someone that um, really liked John Cena. For me, it's always been I don't know. I just never really saw the hype, and I think that this could have been a really good story with him being a champion, but I think The Rock kind of ruined it at WrestleMania, and now it's like because we know he's gonna leave and we know when he's gonna leave, it kind of like defeats the purpose of even doing all of it. It kind of just feels like a big like, okay, great, you're gonna win again, like great, awesome, yay, bye. Like it's kind of weird. Your Mount Rushmore of WWE. Um, if this is asking me my favorites, I gotta go Jeff Hardy, Sting, Undertaker, Roman Reigns. If it's asking me the best ever Mount Rushmore, I gotta go with Roman Reigns, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and Stone Cold. Does Gunther as a new champion does Gunther as a new champion a good thing? Or I guess it's most of say is Gunther as a new champion a good thing? I would say so. I think Gunther is great with the title. Um, I think that he's a lot better at promos than Jay. I think that he does more with the title than Jay. I think that he's just better than Jay. Simple as that. So yeah, I think so. Do you like Rhea Ripley? Absolutely. Rhea Ripley is my favorite out of all the women by far. I would say Liv Morgan would probably be a close second, but absolutely. Finn Balor, the most wasted talent in WWE right now, but can he deserve a shot at the World Championship? No, not the World Championship, but maybe the United States or the IC Championship. I think that the crowd is a little bit too indifferent to have him win the World Championship. Road to 20K already? Yeah, crazy, right? We're at 11K right now on Instagram. It's been 21 days, 22 days at this point. And I'm jacked. I didn't think this was going to all blow up as fast as it did. But yeah, we're on the road to 20K. I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're doing about 1,000 followers every 2 days or so. Um, I don't know. It's all kind of crazy to me, but we'll see what happens. Do you think next Mania night two main event is Roman versus Seth, Seth versus Punk? Um, I don't know. That's too far away. Next Mania is way too far away. I don't even know who SummerSlam is going to be, let alone WrestleMania. Should WWE start putting Becky and Seth in promos together since they're both huge heels at the moment? Maybe. I guess we got to really see what's going to happen with this faction. So my thought was that we were going to have that we'll have him and her together once he gets a title because then there'll be like a couple with titles and a faction. I think that'd be really cool. Um, but I think it just depends on when he gets a title and if she has a title while he has a title and um, there's just so many factors into that but I think we could but just not right now. Right now is not the time. Isn't the whole storyline about Seth and Heyman just a copy of the bloodline with no Roman? I think so too. It's literally the exact same thing, except not family. Like, I think it's kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Who is your goat and why? Roman Reigns is the goat, and because he had one title that lasted 1,300 days, which has never been done before. Um, he literally 1,000x the TKO stock, and he has 10 WrestleMania main events. All three of those has never been done before, and those are three things that every wrestler wants to do. Like that's the whole goal of being a wrestler is to do those three things, and he did all of them better than anybody in history. Do you think Fredericks will go back to NJPW, and how do you think Gabe Kidd will do in G1 this year? I have no clue what you just said to me. I don't even know who those people are or what NJPW is or G1 or any of that stuff. So I'm just gonna skip that one. If you could start a wrestling company with any 10 wrestlers from any promotion, who would you pick? 10 wrestlers. Okay, we got Roman Reigns for sure. I would go Roman Reigns. I would go Logan Paul. Um, I would go um, 10, 10, 10. I would go Obafemi from NXT, Rhea Ripley. Um, I would go Liv Morgan. Um, let me think. Let me think. Let me think. That's five. Cody Rhodes, um, Dominic Mysterio. Three more. Three more. I would go Jacob Fatu. Um, if I could take the final boss with me, I definitely would take him too, but I'm not gonna throw him in there. I would take Trick Williams. So I want to take two women and two from NXT. Um, and my last pick would have to be. I have to go with. It's a tough one, but I'd go Seth Rollins. It was out of CM Punk or Seth Rollins. I wanted to say CM Punk so bad, but when CM Punk is in the ring versus Seth being in the ring, Seth wins. Um, so I got to go Seth for number 10. How long have you been watching WWE? Since late 90s. Who you think is going to win King and Queen of the Ring tournament? I already answered that one. I think I said I hope Ron Killings get in it, and I hope that he wins, or I hope that Jade or Charlotte wins. What do you think is next for Jey Uso? I don't really know. It seems like he might turn heel. I hope he doesn't, but it seems like that's what's next for him. I think that that's a bad move if he does do that right now. But I think they need someone to fight John Cena next, and so I think that he might be the guy for that. And or they're going to start building up Cody versus Jay. I don't really know. I don't really know. Give us a 150 word video response on why Goldberg is the goat. No. Who's your prediction for the money for the king of the blah, blah. Who's your prediction for the king and queen of the ring? Again, I got to go with Ron Killings if he's in it, and then for women, I got to go with Charlotte or Jade. Hot take that you believe in that others might not agree with. Eddie Guerrero is Dominic Mysterio's dad. Your opinions on WWE figures, how they've evolved, articulation, accessories. Um, I'm assuming you're talking about like action figures. I hope I think. I think they're so much better now than they were when we were kids. Man, if I could like, I would love to be a kid now and have the toys that kids have access to now. Like I have six kids, so I see the toys all the time. Um, and it's just crazy. Like me as a 6 year old, 7 year old kid in today's world would have been going nuts, especially with the games and all. It's so much better. And last but not least, what is your dream feud, past, present? My dream feud, past or present. I think I've answered this in another video before, but my dream feud would be Undertaker versus Sting. I think that's one we missed, and it was always just like the timing was off, or just something was off just a little bit. Um, but Undertaker versus Sting would have been amazing. And so that pretty much wraps it up, guys. That's all 6 gajillion of your questions. Again, I thank you guys for helping me hit 10K. We will do another one of these next week as well. I actually really enjoy doing these. It kind of, takes my brain off of like creating, and figuring out what's going on in WWE, and kind of allows me to just chat with you guys. Hopefully, we'll create something where we can do. I'm thinking about creating some type of Patreon or something where we can make something a little bit better than just doing this every time. But for now, I think this is awesome, and I enjoy doing them. So we'll keep doing them every week to week. So with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.